Hello, and welcome to Science and Sleep. Here, we embark together on a slow journey where science is no longer dry but becomes gentle stories that gradually carry you into relaxation. Consider this video as a companion, helping you set aside the worries of the long day, allowing your mind to drift into a peaceful and curious land. Whether you are listening from a noisy street corner or from a quiet room, it is wonderful that you are here. And to not miss any story in the nights ahead, I sincerely hope you follow the channel, like this video, and stay with me until the end of today's journey. I believe that what you receive will be worth every moment. As we drift into sleep, the world around us gradually fades away. The bustling sounds of the day diminish, replaced by the silence of the night. Yet in the brain, this is when mysterious journeys begin. Dreams, at first glance appearing as meaningless fragments, are in fact among the most complex and fascinating phenomena of human existence. They are at once scientific and magical, familiar and mysterious. And for thousands of years, we have never ceased to wonder, why do we dream? Biologically, dreams primarily occur during the REM, rapid eye movement phase, also known as rapid eye movement sleep. In this phase, the body falls into a nearly paralyzed state, but the brain becomes as active as it is when awake. The regions processing emotions, memories, and images flare intensely, as if an inner theater is staging vivid plays without a director. This is why you might find yourself flying over cities that don't exist, conversing with those who have passed away, or suddenly returning to your elementary school classroom. These seemingly illogical scenarios appear entirely reasonable in dreams because the brain region responsible for logic is partially asleep, giving way to boundless imagination. But dreaming is not merely a chaotic mix. Scientists have observed that dreams may play an important role in memory processing. The brain acts like a librarian, needing to organize the jumbled books of today. In dreams, new memories are interwoven with old ones, forming strange connections. This may explain why you dream of a childhood friend walking through your current office. Two seemingly unrelated pieces of memory are naturally linked. This process helps the brain not only retain information, but also cultivate creativity, discovering new associations that are hard to notice while awake. Some researchers even suggest that dreams are a form of the brain's virtual reality simulation. They allow us to test dangerous situations in a safe environment. Being chased, falling from heights, or getting lost in a maze, these could be ways our ancestors trained survival reflexes. Although we no longer need to flee predators like prehistoric humans, this mechanism continues to operate. Evidence lies in the fact that many people still experience dramatic dreams, like where fear and tension erupt like an exercise for the nervous system. Yet dreams are not solely dark. They are also places where emotions are cleansed and healed. After a long, stressful day, dreams can help the brain process and release these emotions. This is why sometimes after an intense dream, you wake up feeling light, as if a burden has been lifted. Some psychologists call dreams a metaphorical painting of the inner life, where anxieties, desires, and memories are recreated in ways that are elusive yet meaningful. And then, among the countless fleeting dreams, there is a special type that humanity has endlessly wondered about: lucid dreams. This is when you realize that you are dreaming while still in the dream. The sensation is like stepping into a movie and suddenly remembering that you are the audience. Some people can even control their dreams, flying, changing the scenery, meeting characters they wish to encounter. Though this phenomenon is uncommon, research shows it can be trained. Interestingly, during these lucid moments, the brain region controlling consciousness truly awakens amid the REM night, creating an experience that is both real and dreamlike. However, dreams also have a dark side: nightmares. Horrifying images awaken us in the night, hearts racing, sweat pouring. They are often linked to stress, anxiety, or unresolved psychological trauma. Some people even suffer from recurring nightmares, reliving the same scenario night after night. Though unpleasant, nightmares can also be seen as the mind's warning bells, reminding us to pay attention to deep-seated issues that we deliberately ignore during the day. What is fascinating is that humans are not the only ones who dream. Studies in animals, from mice and cats to dogs, all show signs of REM-like activity. Perhaps your dog, whose legs twitch slightly in sleep, is running in some dream. This raises a profound question. Could dreams be an evolutionary gift, not only for humans, but also for many other creatures, as a means for the brain to learn and adapt? Stepping beyond science, dreams have also been subjects of philosophy and art. Ancient cultures regarded dreams as messages from the divine. Poets saw dreams as a source of inspiration. Modern psychologists view them as mirrors, reflecting the unconscious. Though perspectives differ, all agree on one thing: dreams are an inseparable part of the human experience. Today, technology is gradually reaching this mysterious realm. Scientists use brain scanners to detect activity patterns related to dreaming, even attempting to reconstruct blurry dream images from neural signals. Though still in its early stages, this research opens the prospect that one day we may be able to record our own dreams. The idea sounds both strange and fascinating. Would we want to revisit forgotten dreams or choose to let them remain the mind's secret? Ultimately, dreams are not just nighttime stories. They are the silent pulse of the brain, a way for it to connect, create, and sometimes heal. They reflect fears, nurture hope, and remind us that behind every moment of wakefulness lies a vast subconscious universe waiting to be explored. And perhaps it is this very mystery that makes dreams so wonderful, a part of us, yet beyond our control. If we consider sleep as a journey, then each of your nights is like a strange train traveling through different lands. On that train, the brain is simultaneously the conductor, the passenger, and the stage artist. It paints vivid scenes, revives memories thought to be asleep, and sometimes even creates things that have never existed. It is here that dreams are born, a phenomenon both familiar and mysterious, both tied to biology and opening up the deepest layers of the human soul. Neuroscience tells us that dreams mostly occur during the REM phase. When the eyes move rapidly under the lids, the brain functions almost as when awake, but the body is locked in a state of immobility. It is incredible that during hours when the body seems to be resting completely, the brain works most actively. The centers processing emotions, memories, and images are lit up, connecting in unexpected ways, creating shimmering stories that you may only remember fleetingly upon waking. However, dreams are not simply a nighttime movie for entertainment. Research shows they may play an important role in processing memories and emotions. When you go through a stressful day, the brain weaves those fragments into dreams, helping you digest tension and even discover new meaning. Perhaps that is why many people have said, sleep on it, and you will see things more clearly. Dreams do not provide direct answers, but by rearranging mental data, they help you wake with a new perspective. Interestingly, no one dreams the same way. Your dreams are made from personal memories, life experiences, beliefs, and unique imagination. Two people can experience the same event during the day, yet when they sleep, they will dream in completely different ways. This personalization makes dreams a special mirror, reflecting who you are, but through a ripple filled, ever changing layer. And it is precisely this fluidity that makes dreams always a subject of art and philosophy. Since ancient times, humans have regarded dreams as messages from the divine, as maps guiding the future. In Egypt, dream interpretation books were meticulously compiled, recording each symbol and its meaning. Ancient Greeks believed that dreams were both messages from the other world and signals from the body about health. And as modern science developed, we continued to ask, are dreams merely random releases of neural activity, or do they carry a deeper evolutionary function? Some scientists suggest that dreams are the brain's way of rehearsing dangerous situations. In sleep, you may flee a predator, face danger, or resolve tense conflicts, all in a safe environment, like a rehearsal to prepare you for waking life. Another view is that dreams act as a creative playground where the brain tests ideas that, when awake, are constrained by logic and social rules. Many inventions, artworks, and scientific discoveries have emerged from dreams, from the molecular structure of benzene to the melodies of timeless music. Whatever theory is correct, there is no denying that dreams help shape the way we understand ourselves. Some dreams make you laugh upon waking, some bring tears to your eyes, and some plant unforgettable obsessions. We do not control these scripts, yet we are fully absorbed in them, like an audience in the theater of our own inner cinema. And sometimes it is the fragility of dream memory that makes them precious. You may wake with a clear image, a face, a snippet of conversation, but only minutes later, it vanishes like smoke. Researchers call this phenomenon dream fading, the rapid fading of a dream as the brain transitions to wakefulness. Perhaps that is why many people like to write a dream journal immediately upon opening their eyes, to hold on to a part of that mysterious world. It is also notable that dreams are not entirely equal across ages. Infants and young children spend most of their sleep in REM, when the brain bursts with development. Adults dream less often, but their dreams are usually more complex in content. For the elderly, due to shorter sleep cycles, dreams may occur less frequently and are harder to remember. At each stage of life, dreams play a different role, like chapters in a long novel. It is strange to think that, at the moment you lie still in darkness, your body immobile, inside your brain, a mysterious dance is in full swing. It connects the past with the present, reality with imagination, reason with emotion. It gives you stories that no one else can see, and sometimes leaves an echo that makes you reflect all day long. Dreams ultimately are both science and art. They reflect biological rhythms precise to each cycle, yet unfold into stories rich with color like paintings. And perhaps it is this combination that makes dreams an indispensable part of the human experience. A reminder that even in sleep, our minds are still creating, still seeking meaning, still telling stories that never cease. Dreams, like a hazy mirror, both project familiar things and paint scenes beyond the imagination of waking life. When we delve into that world, we encounter a fascinating paradox. The body is completely immobile, yet the brain explodes like a brightly lit city at night. Many scientists have likened REM sleep to a private cinema of the brain, where each individual is the sole audience of stories both strange and familiar. It is this very contradiction that has driven humanity for centuries to seek answers. Why do we dream, and what significance do dreams truly have in human life? Modern neuroscience has revealed many secrets. One of the key centers shaping the emotional content of dreams is the amygdala, a small brain region associated with fear, excitement, and strong emotional memories. While we sleep, the amygdala acts as if warning of real danger, even though these are only fleeting images in the mind. This is why we may wake with a start, hearts racing, sweat pouring, as if we had just experienced a chase. In dreams, the brain cannot distinguish between fiction and reality. It reacts to both with the same emotional intensity. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic, reasoning, and control, enters a state of temporary rest. With the strict censorship of reason absent, images and emotions are free to link together, creating illogical scenarios. Time reverses, familiar people become strangers, spaces shift in the blink of an eye. In other words, it is the loosening of logic during dreams that allows imagination to soar. Interestingly, this may explain why many inventions, artworks, and timeless melodies were conceived in dreams. Dreams are not only a stage for emotions, but also a laboratory for memory. Scientists have found that during REM sleep, the brain processes the day's experiences, organizes them into a system, and stores them in long term memory. Important elements are reinforced, while less valuable fragments are gradually discarded. This is why students are often advised to get enough sleep before an exam, or why after a good night's rest, we feel clearer and more alert. The brain never stops working in the dark, tidying memories and turning chaos into order. But the role of dreams extends beyond memory. They also serve as a safety valve for the soul. In the dream world, we can confront fears that are difficult to face in real life, or fully live out desires we dare not admit. Some researchers call this a psychological rehearsal mechanism, where the brain simulates dangerous situations or complex emotions so that we can learn to cope in reality. For instance, a dream of fleeing may help us practice survival instincts, while a dream of loss may help us gradually accept painful emotions. In this way, dreams are both a place of experimentation and of healing. It should also be noted that not all dreams are symbolic or philosophical. Some dreams are simply fragments of mixed experiences, like the brain taking out the trash to renew itself. Yet even these seemingly meaningless dreams reflect a deeper truth. The human brain never stands still. It is always active, always seeking connections, and sometimes through disjointed stories, we unexpectedly realize something about ourselves. It is hard to ignore the timeless allure of dreams. From prophetic myths to the theoretical pages of Freud and Jung to modern sleep laboratories, we continue to scrutinize those dark nightly films in search of answers. Are dreams a window into the subconscious, or merely stray sparks from a brain tidying itself? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere at the intersection, both scientific and symbolic, both real and mystical. One thing is certain: dreams have accompanied and will continue to accompany humanity as an inseparable part of our nature. They teach us humility before the complexity of the mind, awaken imagination far beyond ordinary limits, and remind us that even in the quietest moments, we remain living beings, continuing to write our own stories. When we lay our heads on the pillow and close our eyes, we are not only entering sleep, but also opening a door into a parallel universe where we are both the creator and the adventurer. And perhaps it is within those dreams that we find the small yet precious pieces to better understand who we are. When you close your eyes and drift into a state of drowsiness, a new world opens up. There, you can simultaneously attend elementary school, sit down for dinner in your childhood kitchen, and soar around Saturn's orbit. This absurdity does not make you doubt it, because the part of the brain that usually objects, the region controlling reason, has fallen silent. Dreams are not liars. It is simply that the part of you that used to frequently say, "Wait, this is impossible," is no longer alert enough to intervene. And in that silence, a magical stage begins to light up. While reason takes a break, many other areas of the brain are extremely busy. In particular, the visual cortex in the occipital lobe works intensely, making dreams overflow with color, images, and motion. Sometimes you remember every face, every hue, every graceful movement as if real, even though just minutes after waking, it all blurs. Like an oil painting faded by rain, dreams are beautiful yet fragile, difficult to preserve fully. However, in the moments they unfold, they are so vivid that you become completely immersed. Deep within, the hippocampus, the center of memory, also becomes lively. It acts like a director, connecting fragmented memories from yesterday with pieces stored for years. That is why you might dream of having a meal with an old school friend, yet the setting is your current office. Scientists believe that in this seemingly random patchwork, the brain is experimenting, playing with memory data to discover new ways of understanding. Perhaps this is why many great creative ideas originate from dreams. When the barriers of logic are removed, the brain freely connects seemingly unrelated pieces. From this, sudden flashes of insight emerge. Throughout history, countless scientists, artists, and philosophers have acknowledged finding inspiration in dreams. This supports the hypothesis that dreams are not merely spontaneous entertainment of the brain, but a form of cognitive, creative, and emotional training. One prominent theory calls this the mental improvisation play. The brain constructs the scene, sometimes dangerous, sometimes romantic, sometimes bizarre, and places you within it to test your reactions. This may explain why most dreams involve being chased, lost, or facing danger. In fact, neuroscientists call this the threat simulation theory. From an evolutionary perspective, dreams are a safe training ground where our ancestors learned to cope with danger without paying the real-world price. Today, even without predators, the brain continues this practice, sometimes by recreating a tense meeting or an awkward social situation. Beyond training, dreams also help process emotions. Think of them as a laboratory of the soul, where unresolved painful memories or stress are placed in new contexts to soften their edges. A quarrel during the day might turn into a strange dream where you meet the other person in a gentler setting. The brain does not ignore your emotions. It quietly processes the data so you wake with a lighter heart. Without the REM phase, studies show that people tend to become irritable and overreact. It is like a piece of music missing a soothing prelude to calm the mind. By dreaming, the brain not only recalls emotions but also reprograms the way you perceive them. That is why sometimes after a deep sleep, you wake up and feel that yesterday's problems seem smaller. However, not all dreams revolve around emotions. Another crucial role is memory consolidation. In the dark, the brain works like a diligent librarian, organizing, sorting, discarding unnecessary information, and storing important pieces. This way, you don't have to carry every meaningless detail from the day, from ads you scrolled past to trivial messages, but instead retain what is necessary for growth and learning. Of course, this process is not neat like a computer copying data. In dreams, memories are mixed, recycled, and placed into surreal contexts. Yet it is this chaos that opens opportunities for the brain to create new connections, sometimes becoming the source of creativity. A writer might dream of a strange story and wake to write it as a novel. A scientist might suddenly find a solution thanks to an unusual dream. That seemingly meaningless chaos is, in fact, fertile ground for imagination. Interestingly, theories about dreams do not exclude one another, they often complement each other. Dreams may simultaneously serve as survival practice, emotional processing, and a data storage server. From any perspective, one thing is certain: dreams are not merely neural noise. They have structure, purpose, and reflect the wondrous complexity of the brain. And when you think you are merely sleeping, in reality, the brain is running a delicate software update. It cleans, adjusts, experiments, and creates. It tells you stories, sometimes crazy, sometimes breathtakingly beautiful, not because it must, but because it is made to do so. Behind every dream lies a silent message that your brain is always working tirelessly to prepare you to face the world outside. Delving deeper into the world of dreams, we can see them as a mirror of the soul, reflecting the streams of emotion that, in our waking state, we sometimes do not allow ourselves to face. When we are sad, anxious, or hurt, these feelings often find a way to slip through the REM door to reappear as images, stories, and symbols. It might be a relentless downpour, an abandoned house, or a train leaving the station before you can board. These symbols may be abstract and surreal, yet they share one thing in common: they reflect a hidden state of mind. Neuroscientists have observed that during REM sleep, the stage most closely associated with vivid dreams, the amygdala, which processes strong emotions, is highly active, while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for reason and control, quiets down. This means the brain has an opportunity to play with emotions, amplifying or recreating them without being constrained by logic or social norms. Thanks to this, dreams become a safe experimental space where we can experience fear, joy, or loss under conditions less harsh than reality. Nowadays, many researchers even consider dreams as a form of natural psychological therapy that the body provides us each night. When a stressful event occurs, a breakup, a loss, or even just work pressure, the brain reactivates that memory in the dream, but at a lower intensity, as if adjusting the volume knob. Through this process, painful memories are reshaped, making them less sharp and easier to endure. Perhaps this is why, after a deep sleep, we often feel calmer and more capable of facing reality. However, this mechanism does not always operate smoothly. In people with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, dreams sometimes turn into recurrent nightmares. The brain seems trapped in an emotional loop, unable to turn down the volume of fear, causing the dreamer to repeatedly relive the traumatic event. Alongside this, modern science is also opening up new treatment approaches. Some therapies, such as imagery rehearsal, encourage patients to reimagine the nightmare with a different script. For example, turning a terrifying chase into a joyful run in a park. Over time, this can help the brain learn to rewrite the memory, transforming dreams from frightening experiences into gentler ones. Dreams not only help process stress, but also play an important role in grieving. Many people who have lost loved ones report dreaming of the deceased, sometimes just a brief encounter, sometimes conversations that never happened in real life. For some, these dreams provide comfort, as if granting an extra chance to say goodbye or sense a familiar presence. Although science cannot fully explain why this phenomenon is common, psychologically, it can help the dreamer navigate loss more gently, allowing the brain to gradually accept reality. Another interesting aspect is recurring dreams. Some people frequently dream of being chased. Others repeatedly see themselves falling or sitting for an exam and forgetting the content. While details vary, the feelings are often consistent: anxiety, pressure, or helplessness. Psychologists suggest this may be the brain's way of continuously sounding an alarm about an unresolved issue in real life. It acts as an unconscious reminder: there is something you need to face. When we truly pay attention to this message, these recurring dreams may gradually disappear. Of course, dreams are not only a place for healing. When logical filters are removed, the brain also has the opportunity to form creative connections that are difficult to conceive while awake. Many inventions, musical melodies, or works of art are reported to have originated from dreams. The classic story of chemist Kekulé dreaming of a snake biting its own tail, leading to the discovery of benzene's ring structure, is an example, though still debated. Clearly, the brain's freedom to reassemble fragments of memory and ideas during sleep can generate unique flashes of insight, paving the way for creativity. Ultimately, dreams show us a rare intersection between biology and the humanities. Scientifically, they are the product of complex neural activity during REM sleep. Experientially, they resemble stories, plays that the brain writes to interpret life. In a sense, exploring dreams is also exploring the human being, an entity that is simultaneously rational and emotional, scientific and artistic. When we drift into sleep, especially during the most vivid REM stages, the brain seems to enter a silent night shift. Behind the gently closed eyes, an entire universe is at work. Memories are organized, emotions are released, and the fragmented pieces of daily experiences begin to find their place within a larger story. This is why dreams often present images that are both familiar and strange: an old friend appearing in an entirely new setting, a past event transformed into a surreal tale. This is not mere randomness. It is the trace of a memory and emotion processing mechanism, quiet yet highly strategic. Interestingly, dreams do not just preserve memories, they also edit them. Like a creative director, the brain does not reconstruct an exact replay of yesterday's events. Instead, it selects essential scenes, rearranges them, adds or subtracts strange symbols, and weaves them into a story that may reflect what is happening in the inner self. An unfinished performance may become a dream in which you stand on a magnificent stage. An unresolved conflict may transform into imagery of being lost in an endless maze. These metaphors are not only for entertainment during sleep, they are ways for the brain to experiment, balance, and sometimes even heal. Scientists have found evidence for this. People learning a new skill, from playing a musical instrument to practicing a sport, often have dreams related to that activity. Remarkably, these very dreams can predict their improvement the next day. Like covert practice during sleep, the brain fine tunes neural connections, rehearsing until they become smoother. It's not always easy to notice, but many studies have shown that if you dream about a specific task, the likelihood of performing better upon waking is significantly higher. But dreams are not limited to skill development. They are also the dwelling place of emotions that have yet to be named. When someone experiences loss, a breakup, or a major life change, dreams often become more intense. This is not necessarily a sign of crisis. Sometimes it is evidence that the brain is performing its own therapy. It rehearses emotional scenarios, tests new boundaries, and allows us to face things we are not yet ready to confront while awake. Even nightmares, although frightening, can act like an emotional vaccine. They let us experience fear in a safe environment so that when we face reality, we are somewhat prepared. From a broader perspective, dreams can be seen as proof of the brain's natural creativity. While dreaming, the mind is no longer bound by the rigid logic of the daytime. It connects unfamiliar concepts, combines seemingly unrelated images, and generates new associations. This is why many inventions and artistic ideas have originated from dreams. Chemist Kekulé once recounted that he saw the ring structure of benzene in a dream about a snake biting its own tail. Paul McCartney dreamed the melody for one of his most famous songs. These examples show that sometimes our most creative insights come not while we are awake, but while we are dreaming. Another less noticed but equally important aspect is the ability to forget during sleep. It may sound strange, but forgetting is as necessary as remembering. Every day, we encounter thousands of tiny details: the color of a stranger's shirt, a fleeting sound from an advertisement, the taste of lunch, and if all of them were stored permanently, the brain would quickly become overloaded. Sleep, especially deep sleep and REM, helps prune unnecessary memories, like a gardener trimming branches to allow the plant to thrive. What remains are more enduring, meaningful connections, genuinely useful for our lives. For this reason, dreams should not be dismissed as mere noise signals. On the contrary, they are a vivid expression of the brain's all night work. We may wake up feeling puzzled by strange situations in dreams, but deep down, this is how the brain has processed, experimented, and organized our mind. After a full night, dreams have silently helped us remember what needs remembering, forget what should be forgotten, and connect fragmented pieces into a more complete picture. And perhaps the most astonishing thing about dreams is not the surreal images or illogical stories, but the brain's silent perseverance. Night after night, it works tirelessly, organizing, balancing, healing. It does not require our awareness, praise, or any reward. All it needs is a few hours of complete rest, a quiet space, and our permission to do its work. In return, it provides us with clarity, the ability to learn emotional release, and sometimes dreams so beautiful that they make us smile upon waking. When it comes to lucid dreaming, many people often imagine it as a hidden game within the mind, where you are both the main character and the scriptwriter. This sensation is not only intriguing, but also hints at unexpected potentials in how the brain operates. In a normal dream, we are swept along by the narrative without realizing we are dreaming. But in a lucid dream, suddenly a spark of awareness ignites. I am dreaming. And from that moment, everything changes. You can choose to soar into the sky, walk through a wall, or simply stand still and observe the fantastical world unfolding like a living theater. It is noteworthy that this phenomenon is not a modern invention. Ancient records from India, Greece, and Tibet all mention experiences of lucid dreaming. Some traditions viewed it as an opportunity for mental training, even as a form of advanced meditation. Meanwhile, modern science approaches the phenomenon analytically, what allows the brain to be both asleep and aware. Brain imaging studies show that during lucid dreaming, certain regions related to cognition and decision making, particularly the frontal lobe, are more active than in ordinary dreams. In other words, a portion of the conscious mind has slipped back in while the body remains in a deep resting state. The allure of lucid dreaming comes not only from its strangeness, but also from its potential applications. One of the most studied areas is nightmare therapy. For those frequently troubled by recurring nightmares, recognizing that I am only dreaming can be a turning point. Once they grasp the key to agency, they can face, alter, or even end the nightmare scenario in a more positive way. Some small studies have shown a significant reduction in nightmare frequency among individuals who practice lucid dreaming techniques. Lucid dreaming is also considered a mind laboratory. Athletes can mentally rehearse performances, artists can experiment with new ideas, and learners can review skills while dreaming. Of course, turning dreams into a learning tool remains a long path with much debate, but the idea opens an exciting perspective. The brain keeps training itself, even while we rest. Another aspect that fascinates researchers is the sense of reality in lucid dreams. Those who have experienced it describe an incredibly vivid sensation, to the point that they can touch, smell, or hear every detail as if it were real. This raises an intriguing question. If the brain can generate such a vivid world purely from imagination, where is the boundary between real and virtual? Some philosophers have even compared lucid dreaming to a simulated universe that we can enter whenever the body needs rest. To enter lucid dreaming, humans have developed various techniques. Some use reality checks, for example, repeatedly looking at their hands during the day to form a habit, then suddenly noticing anomalies in the dream. Others keep dream journals, recording every detail upon waking to enhance awareness of dreams. Some practice meditation or remind themselves before sleep. Tonight, I will realize when I am dreaming. These methods are not always successful, but they reveal that consciousness and dreaming are not entirely separate and can influence each other. Interestingly, children tend to experience lucid dreams naturally more often than adults. This may be due to their rich imagination and the more flexible boundary between reality and fantasy. As we grow older, we often lose this ability, but with practice, many can rekindle the experience. This is also why communities of lucid dream enthusiasts continue to grow, sharing experiences and encouraging each other to explore the mysterious terrain of the subconscious. Of course, not everyone regards lucid dreaming as a gift. Some report feeling exhausted because the brain is overly active even during sleep. Others experience a semi-awake state, sometimes accompanied by sleep paralysis, an experience that can be frightening. This reminds us that, like any tool, lucid dreaming has benefits but also limitations and risks. Nevertheless, from an evolutionary and psychological perspective, Lucid dreaming opens a vast horizon regarding human self awareness. It shows that the brain is not merely a reactive machine, but also capable of observing and adjusting the very stage it sets. Every time you realize you are dreaming, it is a moment when the mind surpasses the natural boundary of sleep, revealing another layer of consciousness. And perhaps in those moments, we glimpse how the brain trains, creates, and adapts to survive. Perhaps the most wondrous aspect of lucid dreaming is how it prompts us to question. If even in dreams we can remain aware and proactive, then in daily life, might we be able to become more conscious of things that seem to happen automatically? Lucid dreaming, in a sense, is a reminder. You always have more control than you think. When it comes to lucid dreaming, many people often envision it as a hidden game within the mind, where you are both the main character and the script writer. This phenomenon not only sparks curiosity, but also reveals the intricate ways in which the brain operates that we may never have considered. In that moment of awareness within a dream, a portion of your consciousness returns, like a light suddenly switched on in a dark room. You realize that you are dreaming and can suddenly interact with the surrounding world, whether it is a city floating in the clouds, a mysterious forest, or a childhood memory recreated in a surreal way. When this awareness emerges, you are no longer entirely swept along by the logic of the dream. Instead, you become a mental controller, capable of experimenting, creating, and even altering the scenario. Recent neuroscience research indicates that the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex plays a key role in this process. This region is responsible for critical thinking, self awareness, and working memory, abilities that are largely dormant during typical REM sleep. The revival of this area allows the lucid dreamer to perceive the connection between the dream and reality, while simultaneously enabling deliberate interaction. Combined with heightened activity in the parietal lobe and regions involved in visual and motor processing, the brain reconstructs a vivid sense of space, smooth motion, and sharper visual imagery than in ordinary dreams. This explains why flying through surreal landscapes or moving instantaneously in a lucid dream can feel so real. This ability is not merely an intriguing phenomenon, it opens up numerous potential applications for mental health, creativity, and learning. For example, lucid dreaming can be used as a tool for nightmare therapy. Individuals who experience recurring nightmares can learn to recognize and alter the dream's storyline, thereby reducing the frequency and intensity of stress upon waking. Some small studies suggest that practicing lucid dreaming can enhance the ability to confront fears, allowing the brain to rehearse responses to threats in a safe environment, similar to the threat simulation mechanism studied by scientists. In addition, lucid dreaming serves as a mental laboratory for creativity and problem solving. Artists, writers, and musicians have long tapped into this capacity to generate new ideas, experiment with creative scenarios, or rehearse skills before real life situations. Athletes can also mentally rehearse movements and simulate physical challenges, thereby improving performance without expending physical energy. In a semi awake, semi dreaming state, the brain still functions as a sophisticated learning machine. To increase the likelihood of experiencing lucid dreams, several techniques have been developed. Reality checks are among the most common. You ask yourself during the day whether you are dreaming in order to build the habit of asking the same question within a dream. Another technique is mild, mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, repeating an affirmation such as, I will realize I am dreaming before sleep, helping this intention sink into the subconscious. Even waking up in the middle of the night and then returning to sleep can help trigger a lucid state, although it may sometimes disrupt sleep. Keeping a dream journal is also important. Recording dream details helps identify patterns and cues, thereby enhancing dream awareness. However, lucid dreaming does not always provide purely enjoyable experiences. Some people become overly focused on controlling dreams and feel disconnected from reality upon waking. Others may use lucid dreaming as a means of avoiding uncomfortable emotions, turning lucid awareness in dreams into an escape tool rather than a mental training instrument. Additionally, techniques such as waking during the night or repeated mental reality checks can interrupt sleep, affecting the body's ability to rest and recover. For those with sleep disorders or insomnia, Practicing lucid dreaming requires careful consideration. Nightmares and night terrors also clearly illustrate the complexity of dreaming. Nightmares usually occur during REM sleep, are highly visual, and evoke strong emotions ranging from fear to guilt, helplessness, or sadness. They cause the dreamer to wake and recall the story in detail. Night terrors, on the other hand, primarily occur during non REM sleep, typically in deep stages, causing the sleeper to sit up, thrash, and experience a racing heart, yet remain largely unconscious and remember little in the morning. Both experiences reflect how the brain responds to perceived threats, a biological expression meant to protect us, but follow different neural pathways. Interestingly, although lucid dreams, nightmares, and night terrors can all increase heart rate and create a sense of danger, they all occur in a safe environment. The brain is testing responses, training emotional processing, and exercising survival instincts without causing real harm. This demonstrates the evolutionary capability of the brain. Even at rest, it continues to practice, experiment, and adapt. Ultimately, lucid dreaming serves as a reminder that consciousness is not a simple on or off state. It exists along a broad spectrum, where even in darkness, a spark of awareness can shine through. In this way, dreams become a playground, a mirror, and a challenge for the imagination, where you can experience, learn, and train mental skills. Whether the stories within dreams are strange, frightening, or humorous, they all reflect the remarkable power of the human brain and the limitless potential of consciousness during sleep. Dreams, especially creative or lucid ones, are not merely games of the subconscious. They are a rare window into how the brain organizes, simulates, and processes information that we often fail to notice when awake. When the prefrontal cortex, the center of logic and behavioral regulation, temporarily falls silent, other brain mechanisms such as the limbic system, the amygdala, and visual processing centers begin to operate freely. This imbalance produces surreal scenes, sometimes strange, sometimes frightening, yet it is precisely this freedom that allows the brain to experiment and create. Intense dreams, whether heartbreaking or nightmarish, all serve a deep survival function. From an evolutionary psychology perspective, the brain often simulates danger to prepare for real life situations. If our ancestors dreamed of being chased, trapped, or lost in unfamiliar environments, they could develop faster reflexes and sharper vigilance. These imagined scenarios were not punishments, but mental training, an invisible rehearsal that helped body and mind ready themselves for threats. Even in modern society, such imagery can help us react more swiftly to emotional threats, not just physical ones. Nightmares, therefore, are not simply random products of fear. They reflect core anxieties: abandonment, loss of loved ones, work failure, or lack of control over critical situations. When cortisol and stress hormones rise during the day, the brain tends to continue processing unresolved emotions during sleep, turning the dream into an emotional sandbox. For trauma survivors, that sandbox can sometimes resemble a minefield, where painful memories replay, but also open opportunities for healing. Imagery therapy, awake rehearsal of nightmare scenarios, or emotion regulation exercises all demonstrate that the brain can learn to modulate and reduce the intensity of dream stress. Even more wondrous, dreams do not stop at simulating danger or processing emotions. They are an inexhaustible source of creativity. When awake, the brain is constrained by logic, habit, and familiar rules. In dreams, all these constraints temporarily disappear. Humans can fly, objects can transform, and time can overlap. This is a perfect environment for new ideas to emerge, connecting seemingly unrelated elements and generating breakthroughs in thought. Historical cases clearly demonstrate the creative power of dreams. German chemist Augustus Kekulé envisioned the ring structure of benzene through the image of a snake biting its own tail in a dream. Elias Howe discovered the sewing machine design when dreaming of spear wielders with holes leading to the optimal placement of the needle hole. Paul McCartney composed the melody for a famous song upon waking from a dream, while Mary Shelley imagined Frankenstein from haunting images in sleep. Even surrealist painters like Salvador Dali exploited the state between sleep and wakefulness to capture moments of intuition unaffected by logic, producing works of pure instinctive creativity. Neuroscience research shows that this is not mere luck. During REM sleep, brain regions associated with imagery and emotion are highly active, while areas responsible for logical control temporarily quiet down. This allows the brain to freely combine information, creating unexpected and rich connections that reason would normally inhibit when awake. Each dream, therefore, is a cognitive experiment, a trial between order and chaos, reality and imagination. Lucid dreaming, in particular, opens the opportunity for intentional interaction with this process. The dreamer can alter the storyline, test new scenarios, or confront fears in a safe environment. This freedom not only provides enjoyment, but also has value in training problem solving skills, enhancing memory, and improving emotional awareness. Recording dreams, analyzing recurring details, or practicing mild mnemonic induction of lucid dreams techniques helps the dreamer take control of the experience, increasing dream recognition and harnessing creative potential. Even absurd, bizarre dreams, such as being trapped in an endless hallway, turning into an inanimate object, or screaming without making a sound, hold cognitive value. They reflect fears, helplessness, or unresolved feelings from life. The imagery may be nonsensical, but the sensations are extremely real and provide crucial information about mental and emotional states. This is one reason why artists, writers, and scientists have long learned to listen to their dreams, using them as sources of inspiration, creative solutions, and sometimes answers to seemingly intractable real life questions. Ultimately, dreams are proof that the brain continues to function even while we sleep. They process emotions, practice survival responses, and create a space for creativity, exploration, and experimentation. Dreams may be strange, frightening, or deeply personal, yet they also serve as a tool for mental learning, a creative playground, and a medium for self awareness. When the morning light shines through and dream memories fade, we realize that the experiences in dreams, no matter how wild or frightening, are still the product of a brain operating at its peak, creative, simulative, and at times healing us. Dreams are not simply a physiological state that occurs during sleep. They are a unique convergence of memory, emotion, cognition, and the subconscious, where logic temporarily yields to free associations and unprecedented imaginative experiences. When the prefrontal cortex, the center of reason and critical thinking, decreases its activity, brain regions related to emotion, imagery, and memory surge with energy. This contrast creates a state that science identifies as free associative thinking, where sounds can become colors, old memories blend with visions of the future, and unfamiliar faces appear vividly as if encountered in real life. It is a space where seemingly illogical connections become coherent within the inner world, giving rise to insights and breakthrough ideas that alert reason could hardly reach. In dreams, there is no fear of failure or judgment. This allows the imagination to freely experiment with the impossible, from shaping clouds into forms, turning a doorway into a waterfall, to composing music on fish scales. The freedom from internal censorship is precisely the creative workshop where the subconscious experiments with solutions, images, and ideas that, in the waking state, might be immediately discarded as irrational. These seemingly absurd experiments sometimes serve as seeds for scientific, artistic, and philosophical breakthroughs in real life. History in science and art demonstrates this clearly. Dmitri Mendeleev, the Russian chemist, is said to have seen the entire periodic table in a dream, where all elements arrange themselves according to atomic weight and chemical properties, including elements not yet discovered. Similarly, Paul McCartney composed the melody of a famous song upon waking from a dream, while Mary Shelley envisioned Frankenstein from haunting nighttime images. Surrealist painters like Salvador Dali exploited moments between sleep and wakefulness to capture the most primal and intuitive imagery, free from the constraints of logic. Beyond explosive creativity, dreams also train imagination and abstract thinking. Seemingly nonsensical images, a typewriter typing Morse code by itself, a balloon teaching quantum mechanics, or a chair singing about the ocean, still activate neural pathways, helping the brain experiment with new connections and maintain cognitive flexibility. Research shows that people who frequently remember their dreams tend to be more open to new experiences, comfortable with ambiguity, and sharper in metaphorical thinking. Dreams become a mental playground where the brain tests possibilities that may not be allowed to exist in the real world. Cultures across the globe have long recognized the profound value of dreams. The Ojibwe in North America regard dreams as an essential part of vision seeking rituals, where individuals fast, live in solitude, and receive guidance about life purpose or identity. In Australia, Aboriginal peoples believe in dream time, a continuously present spiritual dimension where dreams connect humans with ancestors and sacred history. In Polynesian cultures, such as in Hawaii and Samoa, dreams are considered a means of communicating with spirits or ancestors to receive comfort, warnings, or solutions that waking life cannot provide. Not only in the West or Oceania, dreams are also deeply respected in the East. In Chinese philosophy, dreams are seen as the flow of qi, life energy, through the mind and body. Imbalances or blockages in this flow can manifest in various dreams, and royal interpreters once analyzed them to suggest rituals or treatments. Taoist philosophy even embraces the relativity of identity. The story of Zhuangzi dreaming he was a butterfly illustrates the ambiguity between reality and dreams, between wakefulness and sleep, between the self and external forms. In Hinduism, the Upanishads regard dreams as one of three states of consciousness, providing deep insight into the nature of self and reality, while yogic and meditative practices aim to observe dreams with awareness to deepen spiritual understanding. Dreams also have the ability to connect emotions and personal experiences with social, spiritual, and artistic dimensions. They allow individuals to process unexpressed emotions while engaging in dialogue with the past, ancestors, or even their own subconscious. Dream imagery, whether bizarre or illogical, provides rich spiritual and creative experiences, from imagining scientific solutions, composing music, painting, to exploring personal identity or achieving profound philosophical awareness. Importantly, dreams remind us that the mind never stops moving, even when the body rests. They process emotions, simulate experiences, and experiment with new ideas. Each dream is a mental experiment, a silent creative workshop, where ideas are tested, organized, broken down, and reconstructed in strange but useful ways. Upon waking, even as dream memories fade, their subtle influence remains. More flexible creative cognition, balanced emotions, and expanded associative ability. From historical, cultural, and neuroscientific perspectives, dreams are not merely fleeting personal experiences. They are an essential part of creativity, cognitive development, and spiritual life. They open doors to knowledge, connect humans with ancestors, identity, and their own subconscious. Dreams, whether illogical or beautiful, are evidence of the brain's power, creative, healing, guiding, and a reminder that even during sleep, humans continue to explore the world and themselves in wonderfully extraordinary ways. When we look deeply into dreams, we realize that they are not merely fleeting images or disjointed fragments of memory, but a complex ecosystem of consciousness where emotion, memory, and intuitive perception intersect. The difference between dreaming and waking states is not just that the body is asleep or awake. It is an entirely different state of awareness, where the boundary between reality and imagination blurs, and where seemingly illogical connections give rise to breakthrough ideas. Mastery of dreams, according to many Eastern traditions and indigenous cultures, is not about control but understanding. Recognizing that both dreams and waking life are constructed by the same mental machinery and learning to flow with them without being overly constrained by biases or pressures. While modern Western science focuses on brain waves, neurotransmitters, and the physiological functions of sleep, traditional forms of understanding emphasize the flexibility of identity and subtle observational skills. Freud and Jung, two giants of Western psychology, proposed theories about dreams. Freud viewed dreams as expressions of repressed desires, while Jung saw them as messages from the collective unconscious. However, as modern scientific methods developed, the focus gradually shifted from symbolism to function, how dreams relate to memory, emotion, problem solving, and maintaining awareness. Nevertheless, the allure of dreams remains strong. They are recorded, shared, transformed into poetry, painting, or music, and many find solace in encountering deceased loved ones, even if only in the dream world. Sharing dreams is not merely a personal act, but also a communal ritual. In many traditional societies, dreams are recounted around the fire, during meals, or in spiritual ceremonies. They become part of a circle where a bizarre dream image not only reflects an individual's psychology, but also mirrors the hopes, anxieties, and cultural patterns of the group. A single dream can influence collective decisions, evoke empathy, or inspire profound reflection. Even in modern cities, two people waking up and asking each other, "What did you dream last night?" still serves as a way to maintain connection to shared experiences, turning private moments into spiritual linkage. Neuroscientists and computer engineers are attempting to see dreams using technology. Utilizing fMRI, EEG, and machine learning algorithms, recent studies have tried to predict dream content based on real time brain activity. These models link activity patterns in the visual cortex with recalled imagery, generating abstract approximations of what participants are dreaming. Some experiments even employ AI to compare brain patterns with massive image databases, reconstructing dream content in the form of hazy images or videos. Though not yet perfect, these studies open the prospect of recording dreams without verbal recounting, allowing deeper understanding of subconscious activity. But dreams are not only images. Sound, emotion, and the rhythm of experience are equally important. A person may hear the ocean, music, or inner speech in a dream, and accompanying emotions such as fear, joy, or confusion are inseparable from the experience. This presents the greatest challenge for science. Can an algorithm or device capture emotional dimensions, subtle vibrations, or will it produce an empty record lacking the surreal magic of the experience? Each dream dances, transforms, reverses, or shatters according to its own logic, making filming it complex, not just visually, but perceptually. In this context, technology is advancing step by step. EEG and near infrared spectroscopy devices allow more detailed recording of brain waves during sleep, while wearable devices offer approaches outside the laboratory. From this, imagining a day when we can replay dreams is no longer far fetched. However, this raises philosophical and ethical questions. The privacy of dreams, who owns the data, and whether inner experiences can be digitized without losing their inherent meaning. Dreams, whether observed through machines or experienced subjectively, remain part of spiritual and creative life. They are a private stage, yet also part of collective culture and knowledge. A Tibetan Buddhist monk and a Brazilian shaman, despite different dreams, both recognize their value and significance. When identity becomes fragile, when the boundary between reality and imagination blurs, humans communicate in a language older than words, composed of images, symbols, emotions, and echoes. Each dream, whether bizarre or illogical, is a spiritual gift, a subconscious draft revealing the limitless possibilities the mind can explore when freed. Across time and space, dreams are both personal and human. They are proof of human creativity, imagination, and capacity for connection. No matter how advanced technology becomes or how much science deciphers, dreams will continue to hold their place as a creative workshop, a repository of ideas, emotions, and intuition that can only be fully explored in sleep. Observing, recording, and understanding dreams is a journey that is at once scientific, philosophical, and artistic, where humans learn to listen to themselves, appreciate the illogical, and recognize that even in darkness, the mind continues to explore, shape, and communicate in wonderfully extraordinary ways. Dreams are not merely a private phenomenon of humans. They are a fundamental part of the experience of many mammals. When we observe the subtle movements of a dog twitching its legs in sleep, or the scrunching of a cat's nose as it curls up, it is clear that a story is unfolding in their mind, a story that only REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, can allow. During this phase, the brain is highly active, almost mirroring the waking state, yet the body is temporarily paralyzed to prevent the enactment of behaviors in the dream. This not only indicates that dreaming is a profound and essential experience for humans, but also raises a significant question. If we dream to process emotions, consolidate memories, and maintain psychological balance, do animals have the same needs? Studies on mice have provided promising evidence. When placed in complex mazes and their brain activity recorded, mice continue to replay movements during REM sleep, as if running through familiar pathways. EEG patterns show that hippocampal activity, a region crucial for spatial memory, becomes vivid, indicating that the brain is integrating recently experienced memories. This opens an intriguing perspective. Dreams are not only a restorative mechanism for humans, but also an evolutionary tool to train survival skills, challenge intelligence, and maintain sharpness in the natural environment. It is not just mice or dogs. Primates, cats, whales, and many other mammals also experience REM sleep, suggesting that the capacity for dreaming may be widespread across the animal kingdom. Whales, during long dives in the ocean, keep one hemisphere of their brain awake while the other rests, and researchers believe that during this time, subconscious experiences are also replayed in the form of dreams. Even in birds, REM has been observed, although with different frequency and structure, implying that dreaming may be an important part of evolutionary adaptation. This brings us back to humans and the importance of REM sleep for mental and emotional health. Dreams are not merely entertainment or surreal journeys, they are part of the brain's maintenance machinery. When REM is disrupted by sleep deprivation, medication, alcohol, or sleep disorders, the brain must compensate, and the consequences of missing dreams often appear during wakefulness. Irritability increases, emotional regulation decreases, and emotional memories are harder to integrate. It feels as if everything learned yesterday has been scrambled or emotional experiences are held back, making it difficult to understand oneself. Interestingly, the brain knows how to recover. When sleep returns to normal, REM cycles intensify and dreams become more vivid and powerful. These dream experiences are not only compensatory, but also opportunities for the brain to resolve emotional conflicts, consolidate memories, and cleanse the mind. Some studies even suggest that dreams following disruption may be particularly strange or chaotic, reflecting the brain's effort to rebalance mental states. This reveals a fascinating fact. Dreams are not always easy to remember, but their presence is still crucial. Not remembering dreams does not mean the brain is inactive. It is still processing, replaying, and restoring. Just as your dog still dreams of chasing in the park, the human brain participates in a mental theater, even when you do not recall it. This flow and continuity create the vital rhythm of the mind, ensuring that you not only survive, but also have the capacity for creativity, learning, and emotional balance. Studies of animal dreams also offer philosophical lessons for humans. They remind us that inner experiences are not always limited by language or conscious awareness. When you record images, emotions, or surreal stories in dreams, you participate in a network of experience beyond the self, where perception, memory, and intuition blend. This is why keeping a dream journal by the bedside, maintaining regular sleep habits, and avoiding alcohol and screens before bed is important, not only to help you recall strange dreams, but also to allow the brain to complete the process of restoration and regeneration. Finally, when we look out at the animal world, from dogs chasing invisible figures to mice replaying mazes, from whales in the ocean to birds perched in trees, dreams become evidence of a profound truth. Imagination, creativity, and the ability to process the world are not solely human privileges. They are a fundamental part of life, a mode of existence, and a way for the brain, regardless of species, to maintain balance. And in the quiet moment when you close your eyes, dreams begin, regardless of age, species, or environment. They are an inner theater, a restorative tool, a reservoir of creativity, and evidence of the mind's latent power. Each time we fall asleep, we enter not only a personal world, but also join the eternal biological rhythm, a rhythm that even other creatures are dancing to. Dreams, whether fleeting or vivid, are always between consciousness and the subconscious, between humans and all living beings, between the self and the universe. If dreams are the silent heartbeat of the mind, then they do not only pulse within each human, but resonate through every creature around us. Mice replaying mazes in sleep, dogs twitching their legs at night, or cats lightly vibrating their whiskers in the dark, all participate in an inner journey that we are only beginning to touch. When Matthew Wilson and Kenway Louie observed mice, they found that characteristic neural spikes appearing during REM were not random. They replayed real experiences as a form of mental rehearsal. This suggests that dreams may serve as an evolutionary tool to reinforce memory, practice skills, or prepare for survival situations in the real world. Watching dogs chase imaginary shadows or cats lifting paws and flicking tails, we realize that the images, sounds, and gestures in dreams are not meaningless. They are evidence of a rich inner life, even if concealed beneath bodily paralysis. Animals dream in their own ways, and their dreams take many forms. Young sparrows practice their songs in sleep, repeating rhythms learned from adult birds. This demonstrates that dreams are not merely emotional or mnemonic experiences, but also a means of learning, skill development, and even a form of nonverbal language. In this way, we recognize a profound truth. Dreams not only help humans maintain emotional balance and creativity, but also constitute an evolutionary rhythm shared across species. Animals use dreams to rehearse important behaviors: hunting, avoiding danger, establishing territory, and maintaining social bonds. From mice to birds, from dogs to whales, each species constructs an inner world where instincts, memories, and emotions are interpreted and tested. Furthermore, the dreams of invertebrates such as octopuses also give us pause. During active sleep, an octopus changes color, flashes pigment patterns, and sometimes twitches its limbs. These movements and transformations are reminiscent of camouflage patterns used while awake, a tool for hunting or defense. If these are dream experiences, octopuses are rehearsing complex behaviors even while sleep cloaks their bodies. The capacity to dream across species is not only a sign of consciousness, but also evidence that brains use dreams as a means to reprogram, integrate experiences, and prepare for survival challenges. The wonder is that dreams connect humans and animals in a shared rhythm. Regardless of shape, size, or brain structure, all experience REM, all generate a rich inner world. When we dream of distant places or lost memories, animals also dream of experiences close to them: mazes, prey, mates, or territory. Dreams become a bridge between instinct and awareness, between memory and imagination, between the individual and the environment. And in the quiet darkness, when all external senses rest, the brain lights up with its own stories, an inner theater where memory, instinct, and hope intertwine. Humans have sought to interpret dreams for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were sacred messages from gods or ancestors. The Greeks built dream temples where people could receive prophetic visions. Even in the modern scientific era, when EEGs, MRIs, and tools measuring brain activity provide precise data, questions about the meaning of dreams remain vibrant. Are they messages from the subconscious, tools for emotional processing, or merely the result of neural impulses reorganizing memories? Answers may vary across species, but one thing is certain: dreams reflect how the brain receives, processes, and predicts the world. This image comes alive when we imagine a forest at night. A fox curls up in its den, an owl silently perches on a branch, mice burrow in the underbrush, each immersed in its own dream. In the deep sea, dolphins and whales may close one eye and dream of songs, waves, and colorful journeys they have experienced. We cannot know precisely what they dream, but clear biological indicators show that they are experiencing their own world, both real and imagined. Dreams, then, are not merely human linguistic or mnemonic experiences. They are the whispers of life, existing in many forms and levels, yet always aimed at a common purpose: to sustain, learn, and create. In humans, REM sleep regulates emotions, consolidates memory, and enhances creativity. In animals, dreams train skills, remember food locations, or devise strategies to avoid danger. We learn from mice, dogs, cats, birds, whales, and even octopuses that dreaming is a rhythm of survival, a shared tool of consciousness. Though manifested differently, it serves life preservation and intellectual development. As stars rise and the world falls silent, human and animal brains alike are busy weaving stories, rehearsing skills, and keeping neural systems healthy. Dreams become an inner spatial rhythm, connecting humans with animals, memory with imagination, instinct with awareness. They are an inner theater, a survival exercise, and a reminder that the inner world is not limited by species or form. When observing a mouse in a maze, a dog chasing a shadow, a sparrow practicing song, or an octopus flashing its skin, we recognize a profound truth. Dreams are not merely nocturnal entertainment. They are an essential part of life, a means to learn, process emotions, and connect with the living world around us. And in those quiet hours, when the world sleeps deeply, perhaps all of us, humans and animals alike, are dreaming together, the rhythm silent, steady, and wondrous, a testament to the profound vitality of consciousness. At its most fundamental level, a dream is where the mind relaxes, where neural impulses dance and memory reorganizes itself. But if we consider dreams merely as mechanical processes, as Freud or Jung once viewed them from a psychological perspective, or as modern neuroscientists analyze REM activity, we are still only touching the surface of a vast ocean. In the moments of deep sleep, when the eyes twitch lightly during REM, the brain is not simply signaling or storing information. It is creating its own stage where every memory, every emotion, every image hidden by daylight is reconstructed, connected, or sometimes distorted. Each dream becomes a temporary painting of the subconscious, a magical blend of order and chaos, of the familiar and the utterly strange. Dreams offer us experiences more vivid than any theory can explain. They do not need to carry a clear message. A bizarre image, an illogical scene, a person you have never met, all can make your heart tighten or swell with joy. Freud called dreams the royal road to the unconscious, but even if they are merely a brain mechanism, their complexity and vitality make them profoundly significant. Jung expanded the perspective, suggesting that dreams express the collective unconscious, where archetypes and deep images exist beyond the individual. Whether through Freud, Jung, or modern science, dreams remain a unique experience where the individual interacts with the inner world entirely freely. Dreams are also a form of mental rehearsal. In studies of animals, scientists have discovered that mice replay mazes in their sleep, sparrows practice singing, and dogs and cats exhibit hunting movements during REM. These are not random behaviors, they reflect a profound evolutionary mechanism. The brain uses dreams as a gym, a safe space to consolidate skills, record experiences, and prepare for survival situations. From mice to birds, from dogs to octopuses, dreams serve as a form of mental training, a way for each creature to enhance its adaptability to its environment without even realizing it. But dreams do not stop at the biological or evolutionary level. They are also an aesthetic and emotional experience, where everything becomes simultaneously intimate and alien. You can feel sorrow seep into your heart when dreaming of a lost loved one, joy erupt when flying over rooftops, or wondrous strangeness when conversing with a person you've never met in a place that does not exist. Science can explain mechanisms, measure brainwaves, and indicate which regions of the limbic system are active, but it cannot quantify the surge of feeling, the subtle vibrations, or the explosions of personal experience. This is a profound truth. Dreams do not always need explanation. Sometimes they just need to be lived, to be felt. In dreams, the world becomes flexible and infinite. Time can flow backward. The laws of physics can be broken, and the impossible becomes possible. Dreams are the stage where the mind tells its own story, unbound by logic or gravity. They are also a private theater experienced individually, yet they can reflect parts of yourself that daylight often softens: fears, desires, imagination, and limitless curiosity. Each dream is a dialogue with oneself, where memories, emotions, and thoughts are restructured, sometimes chaotic, sometimes delicate, but always meaningful in their own way. Many researchers call dreams an overnight therapy, where the brain rehearses emotional responses in a low risk context or a creative space to solve unfinished problems. Others view them as reality simulations that allow us to imagine impossible situations, expanding imagination and creative capacity. Whatever the perspective, dreams are never wasted. They are the mind's toolkit, helping consolidate skills, maintain mental health, and connect emotions. In the darkness of night, when the world falls silent, our brains are busier than ever. They weave stories, paint scenes, create people never met and places never visited. Even small dreams, like a mouse in a maze or a sparrow practicing its song, reflect the same rhythm: practice, remember, and create. In this experience, humans and animals, memory and imagination, instinct and consciousness intertwine, creating a vivid and ever changing tapestry. Perhaps the true power of dreams does not lie in fully understanding them, but in allowing them to exist. Dreams remind us that some experiences lie beyond explanation, and some moments simply need to be felt. They are fleeting streaks of light in the dark, wordless stories, yet full of resonance and value. They glide through the mind like water through fingers, leaving an indelible mark on the soul. Thus, dreams exist at the boundary between science and art, between mechanics and magic, between reason and emotion. They are both products of neural impulses and aesthetic and spiritual experiences. They are both evolutionary tools and free spaces for imagination. And in all this diversity, they are always yours, unique, singular, and meaningful in a way only you can perceive. Each night, when you close your eyes, let the dream arrive without control, without explanation. They are the stage of the brain, the experiment of the soul, the silent treasure you are invited to participate in, and simply experiencing them is enough.